Hello everyone, my name is Varsha and welcome to Study with Varsha. So friends, today I am going to teach you about cloud computing basics, and after that we will start Azure series. So today the first class is what is cloud and what is cloud computing. So before we understand what is cloud computing, it is very important to understand what is cloud. So in simple terms, if like imagine you have a cloud as a vast virtual space where you can store files, run software, and access various services on the internet. So it's like having a powerful computer somewhere out there on the web that you can use for tasks without needing to own or physically manage the hardware. In simple terms, this allows users to access data and application from anywhere with an internet connection. Now, it's come to the cloud computing. So, what do you understand by cloud computing? So, cloud computing delivers computing services like server, storage, and application over the internet instead of using physically infrastructure. Okay. Second is that users can access the resource from the third party providers on their own organization. Third point is that basic we can say public cloud resources are shared among multiple users while private cloud resources are dedicated to a single organization. So this flexibility allows business to choose a deployment model based on their needs and requirement. Now, what do you understand by public cloud? In simple terms, that will share digital space for everyone. Private, that will be owned for any public, any person, and hybrid means that is using both private and public. For example, for something front end and all they are using to host on public subnet, but database and all they use to keep in the private subnet. This is the architecture of the cloud computing. So if you'll talk about, so see, client hardware, this is the front end, then it will come to the internet, after that application services, then cloud runtime, storage, and infrastructure. Here management and security will be there. This is the branched, and see, it will actually look like this. So if you see this, so this is a private cabinet. Okay, now cloud computing is the delivery for computing services like server, storage, databases, networking, and software over the internet. So instead of buying a physical server, we can use cloud platforms like AWS or Azure or Microsoft or Google Cloud Platform. So old way like store data in your computer, but cloud way store data in a Google Drive and access from anywhere. Now, why cloud computing is necessary? So, see, whenever we are going to learn anything, it's important to understand why this is necessary. Because why this is necessary? Because it will provide pay as you go cloud computing system. What it means? For example, if application clients is there, that is end user, that is internet, load balancer, scale up, and data center. So previously every company had their own data center, but it was really difficult to maintain that big machines and to maintain infrastructure and all the thing for this small company. So to avoid this conflict, nowadays if you want 8 GB data, 8 GB RAM and some data, then as per your requirement you can buy from the AWS and all. So that's why it is necessary, so that anyone can do it. Now the benefit is that it is having cost saving, because no need to buy expensive hardware. Scalability, so we can increase or decrease resource anytime. Accessibility from anywhere or everywhere of the world, and security is handled by providers, so you no need to take care about the security things. Obviously some basic security will be taken care by you itself, but the maximum thing will be taken care by the AWS or Azure side. So types of cloud deployment. So there is a hybrid cloud, public cloud, and private cloud. So cloud deployment model. So public, private, community, multi-cloud, and hybrid cloud. So first we have to understand what is this means. see, hybrid, private and public. So we have understand one line, but see, public cloud means that was owned by a third party provider. That example is Azure and AWS, used by multiple customer. Private, we can say as a on-prem also, like that is used by single organization, so that will be more secure but costly. And hybrid means combination of public plus private, so most of the company use this only. As I told, from front end and all they used to keep in the public, but DB application or security part they used to keep in the private subnet itself, and maximum banking company used to do like that. Now, types of cloud services. So, on premises, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. It means on premises, infrastructure as a code, platform as a services, and software as a services. So we have to understand what is the difference between infrastructure as a services, platform as a services, and software as a services. This is very important. Okay, yes. So we go to here. See, on premises we used to keep everything: application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, server, storage, and network. You can maintain all thing, and all the thing managed by ourselves only. Now, infrastructure as a code. So what do you mean by infrastructure as a code? So infrastructure as a code, infrastructure as a service. Here, like virtualization, server, storage, and networking. So networking part like HTTP, NCP, UDP, this all thing will be taken care by the provider. It will be AWS or Azure. Storage things will be taken care by cloud provider, and server also, and virtualization also. So if I am talking about virtualization, so let me explain what is virtualization means. Virtualization is the process of creating a virtual version of something such as an operating system, server, storage, or network resources. So that will be maintained by the cloud provider, but application, data, runtime, middleware, and operating system, that will be maintained by us only. Now, if we are talking about PaaS, means platform as a service. So here, like we every time used to listen IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. So what it means? So let's today understand. PaaS means if networking, storage, service, server, virtualization, operating system, middleware, and runtime all will be taken care by the AWS. You just have to maintain, write the code and the data. That will be maintained by us. So that will be PaaS. Now coming to the SaaS things. So here everything will be maintained by AWS or Azure, or we can say cloud provider side itself. That will be service provider manager. That is application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, server. Each and everything will be managed by service provider, not by you. So that is the main difference between on-premises, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, there is some layers of cloud computing, network infrastructure. So first will be NI, FaaS, SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, PL. First will be physical layer. Okay, so previously it was maintained by every company own, and now we can make that will be created by cloud provider as well. Second will be IaaS, infrastructure as service. After that, platform as a service. Then it will be a software as a service, and now function as a service, and network infrastructure. So this is the layer of cloud computing. Now consume. So infrastructure as a service, software as a service. So if you want to take example software as a service, so Gmail is the correct example for the software as a service, and built on it PaaS. So platform as a service. So if you will application development, decision support, web streaming, if you know, so that will be the perfect example for PaaS. And infrastructure as a service, so caching layer, networking, security, that will be infrastructure as a service. See here also. Infrastructure service, you managed operating an app, provider, server and storage, example AWS EC2. Platform as a service, you managed application, provider managed operating system runtime, that is example of Google App Engine. Software as a service example is Gmail. So real life like server will be in cloud, database will be in RDS and hosting in S3. So all without buying any hardware we can do. So this is only the example of cloud computing. Now how cloud works? So see, this is application and database, that all is there in the cloud. So that will be accessed via the internet and it will work. Now presentation, so 3 tier. So for example presentation, this is something like client and everything. So this is the database and this is the logic tier, or we can say the server. So user sends request via internet, cloud provider process request in data center and response is sent back to user. Ramji, I'm sorry. Key terms to explain, that is virtualization, data center, pay as you go, auto scaling and load balancing. So this is I am going to tell you. So first thing I already have told is virtualization, that is the process of creating a virtual version of something, such as operating system, server or anything. Now we talk about virtual machine itself. So virtual machine is a software based emulation of physical computer. It allows running multiple operating system and a single physical machine. Now API, application programming interface. So API is a set of rules and protocols that allows different software application to communicate with each other. It defines how software components should work or interact with internet. Now what you understand by regions? So regions is the cloud computing refer to the geographical location where cloud providers have data center. Even each region contains multiple data center. So this is what I am talking about. I am talking in the point of view of Azure. Of course it will be okay for all the cloud, but even though this is what I am trying to explain, please try to correlate with Azure. Now ability zones. So ability zones are isolated location within a region that have their own power, cooling and networking. So they are designed to provide high availability and fault tolerance. Now scalability. So scalability is the ability of a system to handle an increasing amount of work or its potential to be enlarged to accommodate the growth. Now elasticity. So elasticity is the cloud computing refers to the ability to dynamically scale resource up or down based on demand. Agility. So agility is the capability of quickly and easily adapting to change in the context of cloud computing, and it will involve the rapid deployment of resource and applications. Now talk about highly available. What do you understand by highly available, or we can say as a HA, that will ensure that a system or application is operational and accessible for a high percentage of time, typically as 99% or more than that. You can take an example of Instagram. Fault tolerance. Fault tolerance is the ability of a system to continue operating without interrupting in the presence of hardware or software failure. We all know that disaster recovery or DR. So that will involve planning and process of restoring and recovering data system after a natural or human induced disaster. And load balancing is the distribution of network traffic to compute workload across multiple servers to ensure no single server is overwhelmed. So this is about today class. So I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching Study with Varsha. Have a great day, guys.